In episode 5 of House of the Dragon, the episode begins with King Viserys proposing a marriage between his daughter Rhaenyra and Corlys Velarion's son Laenor. Meanwhile, Daemon is in the Vale to kill his lady wife Rhea Royce, then arrives at the wedding where Viserys is sick and conflict erupts. The best choice, King and small council finally agreed, would be Rhaenyra's cousin Laenor Velaryon. Though the Great Council of 101 had ruled against his claim, the Velaryon boy remained a grandson of Prince Aemon Targaryen of hallowed memory, a great-grandson of the Old King himself. Such a match would unite and strengthen the royal bloodline, and regain the Iron Throne the friendship of the Sea Snake with his powerful fleet. One objection was raised. Laenor Velaryon was now 19 years of age, yet had never shown any interest in women. Instead, he surrounded himself with handsome squires of his own age, and was said to prefer their company. But Grand Maester Mellos dismissed this concern out of hand. "What of it?" he said. "I do not like the taste of fish, but when fish is served, I eat it." Thus was the match decided. King and council had neglected to consult the princess, however, and Rhaenyra proved to be very much her father's daughter, with her own notions about whom she wished to wed. The princess knew much and more about Laenor Velaryon, and had no wish to be his bride. "My half-brothers would be more to his taste," she told the king. The princess always took care to refer to Queen Alicent's sons as half-brothers, never as brothers. And though his grace reasoned with her, pleaded with her, shouted at her, and called her an ungrateful daughter, no words of his could budge her, until the king brought up the question of succession. What a king had done, a king could undo, Viserys pointed out. She would wed as he commanded, or he would make her half-brother Aegon his heir in place of her. At this, the princess's will gave away. Septon Eustace says that she fell at her father's knees and begged for his forgiveness. Mushroom that she spat in her father's face, but both agree that in the end, she consented to be married. And here again, our sources differ. That night, Septon Eustace reports Sir Criston Cole slipped into the princess's bedchamber to confess his love for her. He told Rhaenyra that he had a ship waiting on the bay and begged her to flee with him across the narrow sea. They would be wed in Tyrosh or Old Volantis, where her father's writ did not run, and no one would care that Sir Criston had betrayed his vows as a member of the Kingsguard. His prowess with sword and Morningstar was such that he did not doubt he could find some merchant prince to take him into service. But Rhaenyra refused him. She was the blood of the dragon, she reminded him, and meant for more than to live out her life as the wife of a common sellsword. And if he could set aside his Kingsguard vows, why would marriage vows mean any more to him? Mushroom tells a very different tale. In his version, it was Princess Rhaenyra who went to Sir Criston, not him to her. She found him alone in White Sword Tower, barred the door, and slipped off her cloak to reveal her nakedness underneath. "I saved my maidenhead for you," she told him. "Take it now as proof of my love. It will mean little and less to my betrothed, and perhaps when he learns that I am not chaste, he will refuse me." Yet, for all her beauty, her entreaties fell on deaf ears, for Sir Criston was a man of honour and true to his vows. Even when Rhaenyra used the arts she had learned from her uncle Daemon, Cole would not be swayed. Scorned and furious, the princess donned her cloak again and swept out into the night, where she chanced to encounter Sir Harwin Strong, returning from a night of revelry in the stews of the city. Breakbones had long desired the princess, and lacked Sir Criston's scruples. It was he who took Rhaenyra's innocence, shedding her maiden's blood upon the sword of his manhood, according to Mushroom, who claims to have found them in bed at break of day. However it happened, whether the princess scorned the knight or he her, from that day forward, the love that Sir Criston Cole had formerly borne for Rhaenyra Targaryen turned to loathing and disdain, and the man who had hitherto been the princess's constant companion and champion became the most bitter of her foes. Not long thereafter, Rhaenyra set sail for Driftmark on the Sea Snake, accompanied by her handmaids, two of them the daughters of the Hand and sisters to Sir Harwin. The fool Mushroom and her new champion, none other than Breakbones himself. In 114 AC, Rhaenyra Targaryen, Princess of Dragonstone, took to husband Sir Laenor Velaryon, knighted a fortnight before the wedding, since it was deemed necessary the prince consort be a knight. The bride was 17 years old, the groom 20, and all agreed that they made a handsome couple. The wedding was celebrated with 7 days of feasts and jousting, the greatest tourney in many a year. Amongst the competitors were Queen Alicent's siblings, 5 sworn brothers of the Kingsguard, Breakbones, and the groom's favourite, Sir Joffrey Lonmouth, known as the Knight of Kisses. When Rhaenyra bestowed her garter on Sir Harwin, her new husband laughed and gave one of his own to Sir Joffrey. Denied Rhaenyra's favour, Criston Cole turned to Queen Alicent instead, wearing her token. The young Lord Commander of the Kingsguard defeated all challengers, fighting in a black fury. He left Breakbones with a broken collarbone and a shattered elbow, prompting Mushroom to name him Broken Bones thereafter. But it was the Knight of Kisses who felt the fullest measure of his wrath. Cole's favourite weapon was the Morning Star, and the blows he rained down on Sir Laenor's champion cracked his helm and left him senseless in the mud. Born bloody from the field, Sir Joffrey died without recovering consciousness 6 days later. Mushroom tells us that Sir Laenor spent every hour of those days at his bedside and wept bitterly when the stranger claimed him. King Viserys was most wroth as well. A joyous celebration had become the occasion of grief and recrimination. It was said that Queen Alicent did not share his displeasure, however. Soon after, she asked that Sir Criston Cole be made her personal protector. The coolness between the king's wife and the king's daughter was plain for all to see. Even envoys from the free cities made note of it in letters sent back to Pentos, Braavos, and Old Volantis. Sir Laenor returned to Driftmark thereafter, leaving many to wonder if his marriage had ever been consummated. The princess remained at court, surrounded by her friends and admirers. Sir Criston Cole was not amongst them, having gone over entirely to the Queen's party, the Greens. But the massive and redoubtable Breakbones, or Broken Bones as Mushroom had it, filled his place, becoming the foremost of the Blacks, ever at Rhaenyra's side at feast and ball and hunt. Her husband raised no objections. Sir Laenor preferred the comforts of Hightide, where he soon found a new favourite in a household knight named Sir Karl Corey. Thereafter, though he joined his wife for important court events where his presence was expected, Sir Laenor spent most of his days apart from the princess. Septon Eustace says they shared a bed no more than a dozen times. Mushroom concurs, but adds that Karl Corey oft shared that bed as well. It aroused the princess to watch the men disporting with one another, he tells us, and from time to time the two would include her in their pleasures. Yet Mushroom contradicts himself, for elsewhere in his testimony, he claims that the princess would leave her husband with his lover on such nights, and seek her own solace in the arms of Harwin Strong. Now, it isn't confirmed if Rhaenyra drank the moon tea or not, so potentially she might have her first child with Laenor be Criston Cole's, but it does seem like some time has passed between this episode and the last, so we're left to speculate on the paternity of Jacaerys Velaryon. Anyway, this was a really great episode of House of the Dragon, and we can't wait to make more videos on the differences between show and book. In the meantime, check out our playlist on every chapter of A Game of Thrones Explained and our entire A Feast for Dragons book, Explained. Also, when you get the chance, try out Fantasy Flight's A Game of Thrones board game, digital edition.